All right. It should be live. I think it's live. Schmagamagab, everybody. It's another exciting Almost Human live stream. And this is going to be now the new time, 9 p.m. because, man, it was always a struggle getting the show started at 8:30. I'm always in a rush doing a lot of stuff. I like to I like a little David Ellison time before I do the show. You know what I mean? That takes a while.
Oh man, that's gonna be this kind of show.
Uh,
Yeah.
but
Hey,
anyway,
wipe your screen off, man. You got some spooge on
Yeah, you got
no,
got some smack 'em a gob on the screen.
yeah,
it. Smack him, spooge him a gob.
yeah, I was smacking my goblin. Um, but yeah, all right. So as always, we got the almost humanoids, Tony Dio and Count Ralphus, and a very special guest this week, Mr. Andrew Sgambati. Is it okay if I call you Spaghetti?
Of course, because that's not the first, nor will it be the last time that somebody
All
calls me
right,
that.
cool, cool.
How
I,
how do you pronounce your name, Andrew?
He got it close. It's Scambati, so the G is kind of like a C. It's basically Italian for a shyster, pretty much. I'm kidding. I'm
really?
kidding. No, 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 no,
Can I call you
not at all.
Shyster the rest of the show?
Shyster,
Sure,
Andrew
sure. Just don't
Shyster.
call me late
Yeah,
for dinner. That's all I ask.
that's it.
And Andrew is known in the Kiss community as this guy that makes these amazing documentaries on Kiss, and he just released one on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, Tuesday.
And I didn't get to watch it till last night because I wanted to see it on the big screen because I knew it was going to be well made. Now I know everybody's got something to say, but I will say this. I went into it thinking it was a documentary on Kiss going to Japan, which it is, but there's a lot more involved in this that has nothing to do with Japan. That's extremely interesting in the Kiss world. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
And and,
Well, I think what was important about the movie is not only do we want to look at a good look at Kiss going to Japan and being in Japan in 77, but there was a live album that was recorded, mixed, mastered, and just never released. And this is the story how that live album got to the fans. It's basically the story on how Tokyo came to you. And there's the title of it. There's the go. Roll credits.
yeah, and I've always known. I didn't know Beth, but I've always known I Want You was from Budokan
hmm
because I do remember somebody saying it. I think this was even pre-internet on some Kiss fanzine in the 90s. I read it and I owned Budokan on VHS.
hmm
And when I saw it say I Want You, let me go watch. And yeah, you can tell that performance of I Want You at the Budokan film. Of course, they enhanced it a bit, but that's totally the Alive 2 version.
Yeah, 110%. I mean, for all the musicians that are out there, there were no click tracks back in 1977. So to match up to match up two different performances as close as these match up would have been impossible. Would have been impossible, especially because Peter Criss was a drummer that either played ahead or behind the beat, depending on his mood. So to have two recordings that match up that well, they have to come from the same place. They just have to.
Yeah, exactly. And but I wasn't aware that they were going to release it as an album, and this would have been prior to Love Gun, correct?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and we talk about this in the movie too, where we thought that this was going to replace Love Gun, and then that it was canceled to record Love Gun because they wanted more live tracks on this live album versus what they would have had prior to Love Gun. But dates on the boxes, internal documents say this album was still being mixed, mastered, and overdubbed after Love Gun came out. So we don't really know when it was canceled. We know that it was supposed to be for the Japanese audience, maybe exclusively, maybe not. I mean, here's the thing: Cheap Trick Budokan was supposed to be Japanese only live record, and that came to America, and they broke huge. So it's still not clear when this was canceled, or even why at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm an old dude. I was there when Budokan was released. I remember my friend's older brother had a copy of Cheap Trick and Budokan import before it was released in America.
And what was that called? Do you remember?
It was called at Budokan.
No, it was not. Does anybody know what it was called before at Budokan?
No, what?
So it was an import. I believe it was 6 or 8 tracks. I have it because I can't. But it wasn't the full track. But it was an import that wasn't the whole show, and it was called From Tokyo to You.
No way.
Yes, it was.
Well, you know what? It's been so long ago. It might have said on the cover, and I didn't.
Yeah, yeah. And
But
it came over just a black sleeve with just with one of those gold stamps on it, and it said Cheap Trick from Tokyo to You, and it had 6 or 8 tracks, maybe only 6 tracks. Don't quote me, but I have the LP.
You got to get that, Ralph.
Yeah, I do. New Cheap Trick coming to my house tomorrow or the day, or hopefully I see online people already got it. A lot of people are showing it off, and I just walked outside again, and I don't have it yet. But I'm hoping it's better than the 2 songs I've heard. I'm not a fan of those 2 singles. I was like, oh, I ain't feeling this shit. So
I heard one today, part of one today. I can't remember what song it was, but it sounded good.
Well,
It's kind of something about a riff or something.
yeah, I didn't like it. The riff that won't. Yeah,
the riff. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I didn't think it was bad.
We'll see. Well, maybe it'll grow on me, but yeah, I'm waiting for that. But anyway, hey, you guys got some questions because they both watched your.
They both watched Milky Video, so I have a total of 3 views. So this is a huge success. No, I'm kidding.
Someone in the peanut gallery. I was going to say in the peanut gallery here. Modern Day Warrior says I've had a bootleg called a Live 1.5 that comes from Tokyo shows for a long time. I don't know if that's the same show.
Yeah, so it was, and we talked about this in the movie too. When it first leaked out into fan circles, it was called The Lost Alive 2.
That's the one I have.
That's exactly it. Now, here's the cool thing about that. So the guy that designed that cover, his name is Alex Michael. He's actually in the movie. So on the back of that cover, it doesn't say Mercury. It says More Curry on the back of it.
This one doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, it's missing the More Curry.
Yeah, I saw that in the guy being interviewed though. Yep. Yeah, I got this. This is a CDR. I got it at a KISS convention, like at some point, like in probably the early 2000s. Yeah.
And what do you notice about that? There's a lot of oxidation damage on that version. So what that means is when it was transferred from a reel, and this is it went from the actual reel, it went to a mini disc, and then that mini disc went to cassette. So in all of that, somehow it got damaged. And we don't know how.
There's some spots in it that sound. I always thought it was like net noise or something where someone had downloaded it or something, but I guess that's what it is that you're explaining there.
Yeah, it was oxidation because it happened. I mean, even when people were trading the cassette, and this is like before CDRs, it had that damage. It sounded like high pitched, like screeching or squealing or something. And,
that's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I Want You is damaged pretty bad. Beth is damaged pretty bad. And there are other. It's about half the tracks on the record have damage in them.
Yeah, this one puts the studio, I guess the demos of the studio tracks on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, the good old days when we used to be able to go to KISS conventions and buy cool CDs that you couldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah, fun times, man. Yeah, and I had that Tokyo show years ago, just collecting bootlegs, and I got into the whole VHS thing. You go to record shows, and be half the people there would be selling, bootleg videos. And that's what we went to get mainly,
That was the best. I mean, there used to be a store where I grew up in New Jersey called the Rainbow Rockatorium, which I believe it started in North Jersey, but by the time I was buying bootlegs, it was in Brick Township, New Jersey. So it was on Brick Boulevard, New Jersey. And this guy had everything. He put on some of the very first KISS conventions in New Jersey too. But there was just something about getting those tapes or going to conventions because, I mean, there was no internet, there was no YouTube at the time. You had to go to conventions to get this stuff, or you had to know someone. Even in some of you had Goldmine magazine back in the day. You get bootlegs out of Goldmine magazine. So when I wanted to make this movie, I wanted to go into the collecting history because I think it's important to talk about those conventions and how these recordings got to fans because it's not as easy as it is today. There was a lot of things that went into getting those recordings. So even though Kiss went to Japan, they recorded this record and it never came out. The story of the record getting to the public was just as interesting as Kiss going to Japan.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that was
the,
something I like.
yeah, the warehouse, the thing with the warehouse getting bought out, when it with Richie Rano and all that was just, it's funny because so a good friend of mine, we used to do a Kiss fanzine back in the early 90s and stuff. And I think it was when one of the home videos came out. Maybe it wasn't Exposed. It may have been the
Confidential?
one Confidential, and they had some, they'd have the commercials for the
Hmm.
dolls and stuff
Hmm.
like that and some footage. Well, Michael, my friend that did the fanzine with me, Michael wrote a letter to Paul Stanley or to the Kiss company or something. I can't remember what it was, but he wrote something because this is pre-internet. So he somehow or another mailed a letter or something
Or
to them saying,
faxed it.
why didn't you guys use better footage of this stuff? I've got better copies of it, And he gets a phone call one day from Paul Stanley. And
Wow.
he's like almost having a heart attack. And Paul's asking him, look, our stuff got stolen. If you know where I can get better copies of this stuff, I'll pay for them. And there was a dealer in Atlanta that always had top quality copies
Was his name
of
Phil Elliott?
no, it was Rick Tyson.
Rick Tyson.
And
Okay.
Rick always had everything. I mean, not just Kiss, everything. And I used to always buy tapes from him. And I remember they were $20, and I always had the spine, had a printed spine on the tape. You didn't do a cover or nothing, but it was always typed up really nicely. And he ordered the I think 10 different Kiss videos. And Michael's like, oh, he'll just give them to you. He didn't say who he's getting them from or whatever, but Paul mailed him a check, and he got a check in for like $200. I think it was
Wow.
10 videos he ordered, $20 a piece, and it had like, if I remember right, the writing on the check said something like, Kiss Incorporated or something,
The Kiss Company, which
GSPS.
what it was at the
Yeah, the
time.
Kiss Company, GSPS.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it was signed Paul Stanley because I don't think I want to cash this. And I was like, I wouldn't, I'd keep it,
I
but
would.
yeah.
I would cash in and be like, hey, can I keep
But
that, please?
I think he made a copy of it and cashed it. I don't remember. It's been so long ago, but that was so cool that Paul reached out to get the stuff because they didn't have it. They didn't have good
Yeah.
copies of the stuff.
Yeah, because and I don't think I mean the rumor of the warehouse was around for so long. But I don't recall, and again, I could be wrong, but I don't recall Richie ever going on record as to saying this is what actually happened. So
Yeah, I've
when
never heard. He always denied it.
right, so when he decided to go on record and say, "Hey, this is what happened," I knew that this had to be in the movie, and I knew that this was going to be basically part two of the movie, and it was important because without that warehouse, those the that live album would have never have come out. Would have never have come out.
I thought that was the most interesting thing of the whole documentary because we all remembered when the guys from Ace and Gene showed up at that convention and they took their costumes back. And it's like, wow, how did this guy have their costumes? Like, I didn't know any
Mhm.
further of the story. I just figured they got ripped off, but
Mhm.
didn't realize that whole warehouse story. And to hear that was really great. And I had a store by me, Rock Fantasy, and they had guys that used to bring bootlegs. These are all cassettes, Kiss cassettes
There you go.
from
Back in the
back
day.
then. And this one's Kiss Tokyo 77. It
There you
says on
go.
it.
Now
And
is
it says
that is that is that
says
Takes
remastered.
Tokyo?
It just says Kiss Japan 77 remastered.
Okay,
And
all right.
there's
Because
no
Takes
covers. They
Tokyo
just
would
got
have
the song
been.
titles. They got the song
Oh.
titles, but they didn't give like
Mm,
I seen that was another cool thing is that you were showing like all the different covers that the guys were making
yeah.
and stuff. I wish these all had covers, but that's how I got them back then.
Yeah, there was something innocent about getting the tapes back then, and that that story needed to be told just as much as the story of Japan needed to be told, I mean, I thought that was so important. And I'll tell you, even when I originally wrote the my outline for this, I knew I was going to tell the story about bootlegs, and I knew I was going to tell the story about how this stuff got out. Because to me, I mean, I was a huge bootleg collector for years. I was 14 years old going to the Kiss convention, buying tapes for $20, and that's just what I did. Most other kids my age were collecting baseball cards or whatever, and I was collecting bootlegs. I mean, it's just Kiss now, but when I was younger, it was every band under the sun. I was just collecting bootlegs because I just was so fascinated by stuff that I just couldn't get anywhere else.
We didn't have YouTube.
No, we
You
didn't.
know? Yeah.
But now we did. Now we do. And now look at us.
YouTube killed all that shit. I was a bootlegger. I filmed a whole lot of shows, and I would trade. I would more trade than sell, but yeah, and all that, man. Everybody's a bootlegger now with their phone.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah, it's
people
true.
don't realize how it was an art to kind of get that camera into a venue because
Oh
most of
yeah,
them didn't allow that. And
I,
and not only that, make sure that if you get it in, you don't want to get caught because you'll get kicked out.
yeah. No, I know
I've,
that.
t-
I've been
I've
kicked out
told
of plenty shows.
I've told a story about the audio bootlegs. I used to see people sneaking in tape recorders just to get the audios. And I remember it being at an Iron Maiden concert, I think it was somewhere in Time Tour, and a guy walked in on crutches, and he had a shirt, like a button up, like flannel shirt over top his t-shirt. He walks in, I saw him pulling tape out. He taped the crutches into a V, and he taped one microphone on one side, one on the other, and he had them hooked to a Walkman. He threw his flannel shirt over top of it, and he just stood there and held it up like this in the crowd. And I believe that show is on, the audio from that show is on YouTube from Hampton, Virginia, 1986.
That's incredible. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
That's what Rerun should have did on What's Happening when he was
Yeah,
bootlegging
that's
the
right.
Doobie's Brothers. He just kept dancing and the tape
That's
recorder
it.
fell out. Hey, that was a lesson to us all. Don't dance while you're
Yeah.
bootlegging.
But to be able to get the video footage was just so amazing because I remember people used to come over to my house and I would like pull out the Kiss stuff, and the like Van Halen, the early Van Halen promo clips and stuff, and they would just be blown with it. Randy Rhoads After Hours, Ozzy Osbourne, nobody had seen that. They were just wigging out when they'd seen it because you couldn't see it any other way. I think the first Kiss bootleg that I ever bought was out of the back of a magazine, and it was the Houston, Texas show. I can't remember if it was the first night or what, but it was awful quality. It looked like it was
Yeah.
about 15 generations. But the fact that you could still make out what it was just, I was blown away with it.
The first tape I ever got was Kiss at Madison Square Garden, February 18th, 1977. I still have the original VHS that I got back in
Wow.
1997 or 1998. And I was blown away because, at the time there was always video stores in the malls that I used to go to, and I always walk in a Suncoast Video, and I would always say, one day I want to walk in and be able to buy a Kiss concert because I couldn't. I would buy Kiss My Ass, which had some concert clips on it, or you'd buy Confidential or Exposed or whatever. You couldn't see this stuff. You just basically saw pictures, and then that's how you saw it. And then the music videos, which weren't a very good representation of Kiss live. So I always wanted to be able to walk into a store and just buy a VHS tape. So, but having that mindset for so long is kind of why I thought that telling this story about this show was such a good idea, because this was one of the most popular shows. This was the show that, if you're watching Friday night videos in the late 80s or early 90s, you might see a clip of Japan. Or you're watching The Nightbird with Alison Steele and she's showing a clip of Japan. Or, as I was researching this movie, I found out that it played in cinemas in Montreal, Canada. It played in cinemas in Australia, and it played it basically everywhere around the world. The United States was the only place that had it only on TV, but you went. This show really went everywhere and all over the world, and I think that was so interesting because I didn't know that until I started researching for the documentary.
I remember seeing it on HBO back in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah,
I don't recall that at all. I don't think I knew anybody that had HBO then.
I had HBO. I had HBO like around 79, I think.
Yeah.
First got
The
it.
main thing I remembered was the blood when he did the blood thing because I'd have Kiss Alive 2 and I see the picture, but then when you seen, the Halloween special in Kiss Meets the Phantom, you didn't see any of that, So now all of a sudden, I just remember like watching it late at night and Gene doing the blood and the God of Thunder music, and it was like, wow, that's like whenever I look back at it, that's the main thing I remember from watching that as a kid.
You know what was super cool about HBO back then? When a movie would end, there'd be a gap of time till the next thing they show, right? They would show music videos like Xanadu by Rush. They would show all these rock videos, Styx, Kansas, all this shit to till the next thing comes on.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. HBO, I'm talking about early HBO. Yeah, they would show. This is pre MTV.
Yeah. There's so many bands made music videos back then, pre MTV,
Yeah, and they would
including Kiss.
They would show them on HBO. But I remember that Kiss show. I remember they would repeat it a lot, and I would always watch it. And I'll never forget my cousin from New York came down for vacation. And I'm watching the Kiss thing, and he goes, "Dude, I've seen you watch that show 3 times since I've been." I go, man, it's Kiss, bro. I love this shit, Yeah, I was.
But you just didn't have anything else at the time. I mean, maybe you had the concert footage from Kiss Meets the Phantom, but most of that was lip synced, and it was just a couple of songs.
And Kiss Meets the Phantom, I only saw it once in '78, till they repeated on TV in '85.
Yeah, it was like it was on late night. It was on CBS late night quite a bit in the '80s.
Yeah, that's where I taped it. I actually I had to go to a wedding that night, and I set my VCR. So I still got it with the commercials and all.
That's so cool. It's so cool.
So
it's funny that back then, we were all mad at the commercials, and now we all look for things like, hey, does it have the original commercials? Because like you want that now, just as like a time capsule thing. But it was interesting to me to realize how many fans saw their introduction to Kiss was seeing the Live in Japan on HBO. John Humphrey from Seether, that was his introduction to see Kiss. Even Alex from Shameless, that was his introduction into Kiss. And I didn't, because there was so much available when I started collecting in 98, 99, 97, because there was so much available at that point in time, I didn't realize how important little nuggets were. I didn't realize how important, the Young Music special was. I didn't realize how important the Inner Sanctum was, because this was the only time you can see, full concert footage, so to speak. I mean, I know the shows weren't full, but you were able to see basically full songs that you really couldn't see anywhere else. And you really couldn't see any concert footage of any kind until, Exposed came out. But think about that. Think about this. You're a Kiss fan in 1975, and you're a diehard fan. You don't lose sight in Dynasty or any of that stuff. And, you're not a rich kid, so you don't have HBO. So think about that for a second. You're such a diehard fan, and you don't see any Kiss concerts on video. I mean, I'm talking about like a wide release until 1987 when Kiss Exposed, or 1986 when Kiss Exposed comes out. That's 11 years. That's an eternity in that time. So just imagine that. So when you saw this Japan show, that's why it was so invigorating, because you didn't have anything else.
Yeah, that was me, because I mean, other than Kiss Meets the Phantom, and then a few things like Solid Gold I remember seeing Kiss Meets the Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing Kids Are People Too with the introduction of Eric Carr, and I remember seeing Solid Gold when they did World Without Heroes and I or whatever.
No, that was Fridays. That was Fridays they did that. Solid Gold, they just lip synced I.
Okay, I thought they showed the video on Solid Gold for
you might be right about that, but I think it was just a lip sync. It was,
but yeah, they were lip syncing. But they were lip syncing for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw, because I didn't even see Fridays or any of that stuff till I started collecting bootlegs. I didn't even see the Paul Lynde Halloween special, because people would tell me about it. People would tell me about, oh, they were on this Paul Lynde thing. And I was like, because nothing got repeated during the the 70s and into the early 80s. Not much of that stuff ever got repeated.
I missed it. I didn't see the Paul Lynde Halloween special. I didn't see it.
I seen it because my mom checked it on the TV guide. She'd get the TV guide every week, and she would mark things off for me because my brother and dad watched every sporting event that was going on. So she had to find little slots for me to have something to watch because we only had one TV in the house. So
Yeah.
like we would mark. So if there was Godzilla movies, then I would get it. Even if there was a Yankee game on, they would let me watch that. So I got the
That's
lucky enough to
cool.
see them. And the HBO thing, didn't that get played for like years on HBO? Like, because they didn't
Yeah.
have so much content. So, because I remember watching it even like later on, that and a Rolling Stones concert that used to
Yeah.
get played all the time back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and it was only so here's the weird thing. We're talking about Paul Lynde. I believe, and I could be wrong in this, but I believe that the Paul Lynde Howling special was only shown one time on TV. That was it. One time. Never. There was no reruns
Yeah.
for that.
That's how it was in the 70s, man. When with
You had, but other shows like other things like you had your TV shows that they would run on syndication, or you'd have
yeah,
this.
but that's different because the Paul Witt it was a one-off. Like
Yeah, just
one-off specials, they would never
Nah.
rerun. You'd get your reruns
Yeah.
of Happy Days and what's
Mhm.
happening, but not
Yeah, even like the late night shows, the late night talk shows, they wouldn't get reran, because they'd be onto newer topics and stuff. They didn't
Yeah.
want to promote like a movie that was already got out of the theaters and stuff.
Yeah, we want to see that stuff all the time now. It's such a different time how it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the midnight special. I started kind of like watching midnight special around like 79 and stuff, and they never showed Kiss then. They already they had, I guess they had shown it was either midnight special or Don Kirshner's had shown the rock and roll over clips where they're lip syncing, but by the time I started watching anything like that, they never showed Kiss.
it was Don Kirshner, and I do remember in 1980 Midnight Special showing the video for Shandy. I remember that. And
Everyone's
Yeah.
thinking like, "What's this?" Can you imagine? Can you imagine being a kid in 1980 and you're listening to your band Kiss and Shandy is there and
Oh,
Shandy
yeah.
is going up against Van Halen and Judas Priest and all these other bands. They couldn't compare.
That's
Couldn't
when
compare.
I turned my back on Kiss. Believe me, I love Dynasty. I did love the album. But when I saw the video for Shandy, I didn't even want to listen Unmasked. You couldn't hear Unmasked anywhere. It wasn't
Yeah.
on radio, nothing. It was, and I never heard it. I never heard it till years later. But
I would have loved it. I
You
would have
didn't
loved it
think-
because I would have been like 10, so it wouldn't matter to me then. It just
Yeah.
been, wow, it's Kiss.
I
You
they
didn't
could have
think
been up
that
there
that
doing
Shandy
reggae.
video? You didn't think that Shandy video looked like a Mentos commercial?
Now that you mention it, it could be a Mentos commercial.
Well, that's funny you mentioned that because I actually edited it as a Mentos commercial. So you can go on my YouTube channel where you can watch From Tokyo to You, and then you can watch my little edit where I made the Shandy video a Mentos commercial, and it was
That's
hilarious.
awesome.
It's
Oh,
hilarious.
That's awesome.
I gotta watch that.
We just watched something somebody shared in our chat group, the John Claude Van Damme doing they took a clip
Yeah.
from his
Oh my
movie.
God, I've seen that before.
It
It's
was a
hilarious.
Mentos. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like a
that's
Mentos.
great. Yeah.
It's hilarious. But just to get back in on collecting and how it was, you had to see it like as it happened. It was, Kiss is such a visual band, and I truly believe that there were so many missed opportunities to release visual content. Think about this. The first Kiss VHS tape to have a wide release, just like a huge, like a wide release, was Animalize. So yeah, Animalize Live and Essential, great show, but this is not the same band that I listened to or that we listened to in 1977 or anything like that. This is a different band. And then, the late 80s, I'm talking 88, 89 is when Kiss Meets the Phantom came on VHS from Good Times. And you had all these missing things. I mean, Kiss has sort of put a Band-Aid on it later, while releasing the Kissology series, even though it's not very good. But they've missed the mark on sharing points of their visual history. They've really missed the point in doing that. And that's kind of why I do the things that I do. I'm just filling in the gaps that I thought they should have had some visual representation of. And this is one of those gaps. This is a story that they never told. They've never officially mentioned this unreleased live album. They've never mentioned it before. We know it because we're fans, and we followed the Warehouse Chronicles, we'll call that. We know that, but Kiss has never mentioned this, and why not? I think it's great. I think it's more of an honest live album than a live two.
I,
I was very disappointed when I got that Kissology. I was like, shit, my Winterland looks better than this shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was like really, I mean, it was. I had other shows too. I had
Mm-hmm.
the complete. I bought this from some guy that was selling Kiss video. The complete Tokyo show,
Yeah.
and that looked better than what they had on there.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. I
They
was
may be
really
using the
disappointed.
tapes they bought. My friend got for him. I don't know.
Probably
Who
true.
knows? You know.
yeah,
It's
Hey
probably
Andrew,
true.
I had a question for you. So this was
Yeah.
very well put together.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
did you do any personal interviews with anybody, or was this all stuff you complied from stuff that you found? Because you had the guest list on this is tremendous, man. It's just awesome, you know.
I there's 26 interviews that I did for this documentary. 26 that I personally did myself. So the only interviews that I didn't do is there are audio interviews with Gene and Paul that came from Kissology, and then there's one from Bill Coyne. But every single other interview I did. Charlie
Wow,
Benante, John Five,
killer,
Eddie Trunk, John Humphrey from Seether, every single interview I did myself. And that's
nice.
why this is so much different than anything else I've ever done. I've basically been compiling pre-existing footage before, but this was something that I wrote myself. I did all those interviews myself, and they're all in the movie. So yeah, so this wasn't any compiling. This is all those interviews that I did myself. It was probably out of those 26 interviews, and two of them were over the phone. Lydia Chris and Chris Lent were over the phone. But out of those 26 interviews, I think I had probably like maybe 9 or 10 hours of footage that I had to comb through to make this documentary.
I
So
couldn't
I
believe
really
it.
enjoyed the roadies, the guys that were roadies telling stories and stuff. That was really cool. And
yeah, Barry Acom was the original guitar tech for Paul and Gene. And if you go to my website, andrewsgambati.com, you can see some footage that didn't make the movie, some of the stories that Barry told. He's got some great stories, but he was there in Japan. He was one of those original guys that traveled with the band.
you bring up Lydia Chris. How did you get her home videos? Was that something that she like donated to the thing, or did you have to
Well, so
pay
that's the
money
thing.
to
So
get that?
Lydia, when I was doing all these interviews, I was trying to convince people to do them for free and all this stuff. And I was like, hey, just cut, it'll take you 20 minutes. It'll take a half hour, to do these interviews. But Lydia and I ended up talking for over an hour and a half and had a great conversation. There's a ton of great stuff that's in the documentary. But after I was done, with the interview, we're just talking back and forth. We're talking about the Beatles at this point in time. Just her and I are just talking like we're talking now. And I go, listen, I know you have these home movies from Japan, 77. Is there any way I can get a couple minutes to use in the movie? And there's a little bit of silence. Then she goes, yeah, sure. And that's how I got the permission. So, and these are the first time that anyone has ever seen these videos before. We've heard about them,
you know,
and now we get to see them and enjoy them for the very first time. So I knew that was going to be the crown jewel of the actual documentary. So I was so lucky and so excited that I was able to include those.
It's so fun to like as a kid loving Kiss. We didn't know what they looked like. So years later, you'd see old photos and stuff, but it's cool seeing something like that. Just even though they were quick little clips of them without the makeup at
hmm
that time,
Just
because
being
we didn't
human,
know
yeah,
just
what they
being
looked
guys
like.
like we are.
Yeah,
This
just
isn't
joking
yeah,
around.
they're not
Yeah.
on stage. They're just being themselves, unmasked. And
yeah. It's like seeing those photos in the history book for the first time. All those candid photos, you know.
I'll tell you a funny story about the Kiss book because I went to the Kiss Monster Mini Golf course while I was making this. And anyone that's created anything, there's a ton of self-doubt when you're creating this. You're like, am I going to be able to do it? And if I do it, is that going to be any good? So I had all this doubt. I was like, man, I got these interviews and everything kind of sucks and blah 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 blah. So I'm in the Kiss Monster Mini Golf and they have all those, all this merch set up. They have the Kiss book that they're selling and it's open. And what page is it open to? Japan 77. So once I saw that was for sale and I was like, you know what? That's an omen. That means I have to do this. And from that moment on, I knew that I had to make this happen. And like I said, I started the pre-production for this and writing the outline and the treatment for this back in November of 2024. So this literally took me a year to put together, and now everybody could log on and see it, and hopefully a lot of people don't watch it on their phones. Hopefully people they take their time and they watch on a big TV. But I've just been blown away by the response from the fans that they've enjoyed it so much. It never dawned on me that fans would look at this as a time capsule. And what I mean by that is people have reached out to me and says, "Man, you made me feel young again watching this because I remember reading Music Life or reading Circus Magazine about Kiss in Japan, and then I remember going to the conventions." I had no idea that people would have that feeling, saying that, "Oh, you made me feel like I was 15 again." That was never my intention to do that. My intention was just to say, "Hey, this was a cool story." So for fans to take away the documentary, that is just, it's been so cool. It's been so cool, so fulfilling as a small time artist, but small time artist, full time idiot. So
Yeah.
I like the time capsule thing. It's cool. Like when I first seen, okay, another Kiss documentary. We need another Kiss documentary. But then that's what it is. It's just this one little error that you focused it on. But then you bring in the fan collecting aspect too. So it's kind of two different things. But I love that. I'm thinking, all right, you could do this for like every album if you wanted to, if you could find the footage and stuff. But you could keep them coming.
yeah,
See, they should hire you. They should just hire you to make the video that goes with each box set that's coming out.
Of course.
everybody keeps saying that, and I'm hoping I released this documentary by design. I released it before the Vegas trip because people in Vegas are going to be talking about this. And I hope someone calls me and says, "Hey, we need you to do this." I was on Julian Gill's show right before, we started talking tonight, and we were talking about what other anniversaries are next or what could be next. 2026 is 30 years since the reunion tour. How cool would it be to take all 4 nights at Madison Square Garden and make one awesome concert? I'm not saying that they were bad any of those nights, but you have so much footage. You're not going to watch the same concert 4 times, but you could take all the best moments from each concert and make it into one concert film, and people would buy that. That'd be a 30-year celebration, and at this point, a great tribute to Ace, who just recently passed. So
Absolutely.
I was at 3 of those 4 Madison Square Garden shows. You got to throw in the part where the tape breaks during Beth.
that's right, where they didn't. Well, but do you know what really happened that night?
No, I don't.
The union is so strict in the New York, New Jersey area that if you run a minute over, you get fined hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they cut Beth because they were running over and they had to cut a song, and that's the one they cut.
I went to 2 of the 4 of those shows. And I told the
was
crazy
just-
story, but I'm not going to tell it tonight.
I was just too young for that. I saw them for the first time New Year's Eve, 96, 97 at the Continental Airlines Arena in New Jersey.
I was at that too. I have a good story from that night. With Dick Clark came on the screen
Yep,
and everything.
that's right. That's right.
Probably my favorite New Year's I ever had. Loved that night.
That was
It was my
one of my
favorite too.
favorite experiences. I didn't get to go to Madison Square, but just that tour alone was one of my favorite concert experiences ever, because growing up a Kiss fan, I never got to see Kiss in makeup. I had a chance to go to Creature's tour and I didn't make it, and I was a little bit too young to go out. And but yeah, it's I saw them everything from Animalize through, and then when they did the reunion tour with the makeup, it's like, wow, it's just something we thought would never happen. So I tried to go as many shows as I could. It was amazing.
That's my favorite Kiss tour. Like hands down, it's my favorite Kiss tour.
I
And
don't.
not because
Ralph is. I don't know about you, Ralph. I'll ask you after. I saw the Miami reunion show after the Madison Square Garden show, and the Miami show was great and all, but it didn't have that buzz that New York had. And I remember all 3 nights walking out of Madison Square Garden, the whole crowd walking out, screaming, cheering, like the concert was still going on. I've never experienced that in my life. And it happened 3 times in a row. I'm sure it happened all 4 nights, but I'm saying those 3 nights I went, there was a buzz, there was an electricity, and also New York was all Kiss at that time.
Yeah.
I remember seeing cutouts of Love Gun in this store, that store. It was Kiss crazy at the time. And
Yeah.
there was just something so special about that
Yeah.
Square Garden show. And there was a guy I spoke to, he said the same exact thing happened at the Detroit Stadium. What was that?
Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, they said the same thing happened in Tiger Stadium. People were cheering on the way out. It was amazing, you know. But yeah, there was just something so special about that. And I'm not
Yeah.
complaining about Miami. The Miami show fucking ruled. Miami show had Latin MTV there. I
That's
got
right.
I got a lot of that footage.
That's right.
I was friends with Alfredo, the host of Headbangers Ball, and he interviewed Kiss, and there was a lot of cool footage of the Miami show. It was an awesome show, but it wasn't the same crowd. It wasn't the same magic in the air that New York had at the time. And I try to explain that to people. Man, you had to be a Madison Square Garden to realize how amazing that fucking tour was, you know, because
Yeah.
that was the pinnacle, man. That in Detroit, I guess, you know.
It's my favorite Kiss tour, as I mentioned before. And I only like now my Kiss collecting days, I try to only collect stuff from the reunion tour. And I'm always like trying to look for like cool stuff. Like some of the official stuff was okay or whatever. But anyway, I'm on eBay one night a couple years ago. And my search is always Kiss 1996 or Kiss 96 or so I just do the search and I just going through. Obviously, the Shout Out Loud video was shot at Tiger Stadium in Detroit, and you got all these cool shots of all these banners that fans made, like all these giant fan made banners. But because your fan made banner is now in the video, that's kind of cool. One of those banners ended up on eBay a couple of years ago. The guy only wanted $50 for it, and now it's in my collection. It's one of
Nice,
the banners from the Shout Out Loud video. I got it in my collection.
nice.
So. So
That,
just because I love that tour, I mean I was 11 at the time, and Kiss was everywhere. I remember being in a sandwich shop in New Jersey and seeing them on Entertainment Weekly, and I had to have it. And that was 96. Actually, the coolest 96 story I'll tell you is I mean I was a kid at the time. I was 11 years old, so I was still playing with toys and action figures. And there was a show called Kablam, and it was action figure animation, and they had an episode with the Kiss action figures. I thought it was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my life.
wow, nice. All right.
Yeah,
But
the guest list you had on here, like I said, it was so many good interviews and stuff. Like I said, with John Five, Charlie Benatti,
mhm.
um, the roadies, of course, Eddie Trunks in this. Billy May, that guy is Paul Stanley, like the second coming of Paul Stanley, isn't he?
Yeah,
I mean, he is just he phrases like Paul. Everything is kind of scary. It's so close, but does a great job with it and all. But the two ladies that you interviewed, how did you get up with them? From they were Japanese fans
yeah.
that were there. How
Yeah, there
did
were
you
Japanese
come
fans that
across
were
them?
there. I went to Japan in 2006, and I've kept in touch with some of my friends from Japan. So when I was putting this together, I was reaching out to them. I go, hey, some of them just didn't want to be on camera, or some of them didn't have the technology available. But those two ladies, Amy and Ginger, both had the technology and both wanted to be a part of it. And let me tell you, there's the guest list is nothing to sneeze at. There's some great guests on there. But having people like Amy and Ginger be a part of it, it adds another level of legitimacy
Absolutely.
to it because they
Hmm.
were there. They
Yeah,
saw they saw Kiss at Budokan in 77. So to have them in there and just for them to kind of talk about what it was like being a Kiss fan in Japan, I thought was amazing. And I knew they had to be in the movie.
yeah.
And you had photos from that time too of like little Japanese kids with the makeup on. Was that given from them? Those, or did you have to find that separately and just splice
No,
it
so
together?
there's like I have a large photo collection and not only that, but I had other people like there's a section before we go to Japan. There's like a short little history section in the movie where those were just friends of mine that gave me pictures of like their Kiss birthday parties. There's pictures of kids wearing the costumes in '78 in there. Those are just people that wanted to contribute and be part of the movie because I thought it was important to tell the how historically significant Kiss was to pop culture at the time. So, but everything in there comes from my collection. A lot of the documents that I show on the screens are documents that I purchased myself through either auctions or whatever, and I scanned them all myself. So this was ground roots. Everything was basically done by me over the last year and a half, just gathering stuff and getting stuff. And guys like Julian, they gave me a bunch of great stuff and helped me find stuff. I mean, the HBO ad where Kiss is in the middle of the HBO ad, I had never even seen that before. It just popped up on eBay one day, and I knew I had to have it, and it was only $20, so I bought that, scanned it myself, and it's in the movie. So it was just I knew that there's stuff that I even bought that I couldn't fit into the movie for whatever reason. Just stuff that I wanted to include just didn't make sense to include it. So, maybe there'll be a director's cut in a couple of years. Who knows?
You should.
Yeah.
You should do like for your website, like the deleted scenes, cutting room floor.
There's some of that on there. There's some of that in the website now, but I don't know. A lot of people are asking me. What's next, and I'm like, guys, like this not even out for a week, and people want to know what's
Yeah,
next.
yeah, because
So
it's so well made, people want more.
yeah, and I'm flattered by that. I really, really am. I'm working for a band right now. They're called Flicker Stick. I'm doing all their social media videos. I did their last music video. I'm going down to Dallas to see them at the end of the month. So I'm kind of that's taking up my spare time now. But I think if I do another Kiss thing, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Kiss fan. I've been a diehard. I live in a Kiss museum. My studio here is the only place that really doesn't have Kiss posters here, but the rest of my house is a Kiss museum. So I'm sure that another Kiss thing will follow. Just depends what it's going to be. We'll see.
Is the Flicker Stick the band that won Bands on the Run years
That's
ago?
them.
Wow, they're still around. Cool.
They reunited in 2022. I flew out to Dallas to see their reunion shows, and something happened where I just ended up, becoming friends with them. They were like they asked me for something, and then now I talk with them pretty frequently, just getting stuff ready. So their latest album, Superluminal, just came out last Friday, and their album release shows November 29th in Dallas. So I'm so pumped to see that band again. Them and Kiss were the two most important bands in my
This
youth
sing, this
growing up.
singer sang for LA Guns for a little while, I believe, didn't he? Am
No,
I
he was
thinking
in a
about a
band
different
called
band?
Ghost in the Jetta. That's
Okay,
what
I
they
may
call.
have maybe it was one of the other bands that was on Bands on the Run that had the singer ended up in LA Guns or something for a little while. Because,
I mean,
you know, of course, Ralph was in LA Guns for 5 minutes at one point, So
yeah, I
everybody's been
think
in LA
everyone's
Guns.
been in LA Guns at this point. But that's the thing. Which LA Guns though? Is it the Tracy Guns LA Guns, or is it
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
But
Actually,
there's
yeah.
not
There
too
you
many
go.
more. Listen, God rest his soul, because I know he's passed at this point. Um, the drummer, his name escapes me, but I know he was also
Steve
in
Riley.
Wasp.
Steve Riley.
Steven.
And you know what? I liked his LA Guns. I didn't like the. I heard from Steve Riley's LA Guns. I liked it more than the newer real LA
It
Guns.
was good. It was
It was
good. Yeah.
really good. It was awesome stuff. I did see LA Guns once with Ralph, and he was in the band for a very short time, but I did see it. It was a
Oh, you talking about Ralph? You talking about Ralph from talking about Michael Starr Ralph?
yeah.
Yeah, I was joking saying you had been in LA Guns at one point just because
Yes,
everybody's been in LA
everybody's
Guns.
been in LA Guns.
And Sammy Hagar was asked to join the LA Guns.
Yeah.
He was. He was. He was too busy though. He was
He
too
was too
busy.
busy. He was too busy working with the Rolling
That's it. That's it.
Stones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So,
But I mean, here's the thing. I mean, we're all at the now that Kiss is no longer touring. Now they're putting out these great box sets. And I got to tell you, the Dress to Kill box set that just came out really cemented that Kiss was an incredible live band. That Cobalt Hall show from '75 just shows you that they were a great live band. So I don't really know what's next for Kiss. I think this Vegas thing is silly. I think the Kiss cruise is silly. I think we need to put more focus on the music before the silliness. So I would love to see, them do something. I mean, here's the thing: this Dress to Kill box set just came out, and there's a Blu-ray in there, and they include two music videos on there. And I got to be honest with you, I watched them, and they looked like they dragged the film of those music videos through poop before they put them on this Blu-ray. They look so bad, so bad.
What is it? Love her all I can
It's
and rock and roll all
Come On
night.
and Love Me and Rock and Roll Night.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come
And
on.
it's
That's
got
what I
this
meant. Yeah.
awful brown tint to it, and I've never seen them look worse. And they're like, "Oh, they're brand new film scans." I go, "Well, whoever scanned them did it wrong, because it looks terrible." So,
I got to tell you, I have it because this great person called J Man sent it to me, and but man, the actual Blu-ray audio.
it's cool.
I got the surround sound shit going on in my living room. That shit was unbelievable. That was to me the best part. I mean, yes, of course, the live shows is incredible. And I have nothing bad to say about it. But sound quality, that blew my mind. I never understood the hate for Trust to Kill's production.
I love that record.
I love the production. Neil Bogart smoking weed the whole time. But it was nice and shiny.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
damn
It's a
fun.
good guitar tone on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're all a lot of those guitars are doubled with acoustic guitars. Maybe it was not real fat. But I'm just like excited because next Friday, we get the Alive box set, so you'll get to hear the Alive in surround sound.
I gotta say this. This is amazing. I made a video. I put it up yesterday of Kiss is releasing the box set of Kiss Alive, right? Now I just got the box set from J-Man, so I'm not gonna ask the guy to get me another box set. So what I said on the video was, you know what? This is my favorite Kiss album. I'm fucking buying it. I'm buying it. What happened today when I got home? I won't give out his name. His name is James. He sent me some money for me to pay for the box set.
Jeez.
Yeah, not half, not a quarter, but almost a quarter of how much the box set cost. He sent me that much.
That's incredible.
And people out there that say people suck, you don't know the people I know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, same. Because I after From Tokyo to You came out, I had a guy message me. He runs a website called Guitar Nut Tees or get. I hold on, I have to because I want to give him a good plug because he was so generous that I want to make sure I plug him correctly. He runs a website called Guitar Nut Tees, and he has like some Bruce Kulick stuff, some Eric Carr stuff, and he works with some other bands as well. And he just wanted to, he says, "Hey, I love your movie and I want to give you a free shirt because I enjoyed it so much." And not only that, he's sending me an Eric Carr shirt and an Eric Carr pillow. So just amazing. Just the fans are the best to other fans, really, because we all love the same thing. So for him to be that generous to send me a shirt and a pillow is fantastic. So the website is Guitar Nut Tees. And there's awesome stuff on there. There's shirts that are designed for Bruce Kulick, and there's shirts that are designed for Eric Carr, and all kinds of great stuff on there. So make sure you check that out for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
to hand these cool people out there, man. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
so generous and so nice, and and they do this because they just like how I blab about music.
I blab about Kiss. I mean, seriously, I literally blab about Kiss at all the time. That's what I do.
I only do it on Wednesdays. The rest of the week I talk about other shit. Except tonight, it's Kiss Thursday.
Kiss Thursday, because we're talking about From Tokyo to You. I mean, we've gone off on tangents, but I think that's the beauty of this, because you watch this movie and it makes you remember all kinds of things. And when you're talking to other music collectors, like we all are, it reminds you of other things to talk about. That's what was so great about those early conventions. You were there to see Kiss. But how many times did you leave a Kiss convention with like an Iron Maiden tape or a Stevie Ray Vaughan tape or something else, just because you found something else because your friend liked something else, and because you were friends, you went and checked it out. It's that's what's sorely missing from the music community now. I hate TikTok. I hate Spotify. I hate streaming music. I hate all that stuff. I really, really do. But I do like going to conventions and flipping through a record bin and talking about bootlegs with people that like the same stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
never I'll never talk about politics. I'll never side. I'll never choose a side. I'll never do that stuff. But you know what? I will say that Sammy Hagar sucks.
Oh, there you go. And and you also got to get into politics when I run for president. Okay.
Okay, all right, that's a deal.
You
All right,
just
that's a
talk
deal.
about me, and I'm gonna be the greatest cat. I'll tell you right now, vote for me, and I'll fuck everything up. At least I'm honest. I'm honest. I will fuck. You're gonna go hungry. Yeah, everything's gonna be fucked. But I'm gonna
No Dr. Fuck stimulus checks.
no, and I'm bringing back real MTV.
Yes.
That's the only good thing I'm gonna do.
Yeah, Martha Quinn needs a job.
Yeah, none but it's gonna be called Metal TV,
There you go.
not
That's
music.
it.
That
Andrew, are you in Vegas? Are you going to Vegas?
I am not going to Vegas. So I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and my problem with Vegas is I think it was just too much for too little, and you kind of have this group of Kiss fans now that think they're better than you because they buy more signed guitars, or they do this or they do that. And I'm at an age in my life now where if someone is talking down to me like that, I will punch them in the face. And I
Yeah,
can't.
I agree.
I knew that this event was going to be filled with people like that think that they're just better than everyone else, and
Hey,
they wanted to showboat.
Andrew, back up a second.
Yeah.
There's actual people out there that think they're cooler than you because they spend thousands and thousands of dollars for a signed guitar by Paul or Gene.
That is correct.
Can you imagine the ones that buy the Tommy Thayer guitar and think they're better than you?
I'm telling you, these are people, and then these people would pass judgment on me because they're like, "Oh, you're at the meet and greets too." I'm like, "Brother, I don't pay. I never paid. I knew people that would take care of me, and I knew members of the band that would take care of me. I never paid for any of that stuff. So, but you have this group of fans now that they go on all the cruises, they buy all the nonsense, and they think they're better than you. And I can no longer tolerate that behavior. I can't. So,
I'm a bigger Kiss twat than you.
yeah, no, no. And then you're gonna have the people that are gonna pass judgment on, what I do. And that's actually the most unfortunate thing is because, now that I've created something, and I'm not slighting my previous things before. I'm certainly not, but this is so much different than anything I've ever done before. You have people that are just gonna slight my creation just because they don't like me.
No,
And I don't
well,
need to go. I don't need to go to Vegas for that. I can go to the bar down the street. There's plenty of people that they don't like me.
no, but the thing is that they're jealous of you, and I'm proof of that. I made two Kiss documentaries, Larger Than Life and Larger Than
Mhm.
Life Part Two,
Mhm. I watched them.
yeah, but his documentaries are so much better than mine. So fuck you, Andrew.
Listen, anytime I need to take a shit, I put on Larger Than Life 1, and the shit just falls right out. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Then
No,
when
Video,
in
it's a
all
video
honesty though,
laxative.
I watched both of those, and I think they came out at a similar time that I did my first one. And I watched it and I enjoyed it just as much as any other Kiss thing that I saw because fans do the best things.
well, thank you. I got a question for you. I
Yeah.
don't know if this happened to you, but this happened to me. And I don't remember the guy's name. And if you know the guy's name, let's not mention his name.
Yeah.
But I remember when I did the first Kiss documentary, Larger Than Life, this dude took my documentary and started selling it on DVD.
I know who that is.
And people thought I had something to do with it. I was like, look, number one, I did this shit for free. This
Me
dude
too.
took money, and he's not even giving me a cut of it. But you know what? I didn't get mad at him. I was like, whatever. The only thing, I don't want anybody to think I made money off this documentary. This dude was burning on DVD and selling it, which is kind of like, all right. I don't know if he did it with your documentaries,
He
did he?
did. He did. And actually, this is funny because I was on eBay last night and someone was trying to sell From Tokyo to You last night on eBay.
Oh wow,
And
already?
kudos to eBay. I reported it and they immediately took it down. They immediately took it down. But yes, there has been the
Damn,
same.
I bid on that.
But there has been the same guy that sold your stuff, sold many of my stuff. And I had a lot of people that were unhappy because I've been very outspoken that I do this stuff for the love of the band and I don't
But
want people to sell it.
did anybody accuse you like they accused me that I had something to do with it?
No, they've accused me of much worse things.
Okay.
So I wish they would have accused me for selling that because that would have been easy to prove. But I was accused of everything under the sun. I probably, I probably fucked that guy's girlfriend. That's why they were so mad at me. I don't know, but um,
And I
but
fucked
we,
and I fucked his dad.
yes, yes. So, but we forget that we're all just fans, and we are just trying to express our love for this stuff. There's just listen. We've always, as hard rock and heavy metal fans, we've always been the underdogs. Always been the underdogs. So there was always like a nationhood among us that we knew something that nobody else knew. And we're so passionate about that. So that's why we do the things that we do. That's why we do bootlegs and we create films and create videos. It's because we're so passionate about what we love.
The first bootlegs I got from Kiss, like Tony, but mine didn't look that bad, was Houston 77. And the one that didn't look too good that I got at the same time was Largo 79.
Yeah,
But boy, did I watch that shit over and over again.
me too.
And, I wish my parents wouldn't let me go. I wish I could have seen the Dynasty tour. I remember when that shit came my way. And I already told you all the Love Gun story, where my brother didn't want to take me. And he didn't take me. And I went in my room sad. And I went to listen to my Kiss Alive 8-track. And he took it with him to the show.
Oh,
That was a heartbreaking night. I didn't see
Wow.
Pictures of the Night, which was till to this day, that was the most vicious Kiss show I ever saw.
yeah, because they wanted it. They were hungry again.
Gene Simmons looked like a real monster, more than I've ever seen him before. He was fucking larger than like crazy shit. But still, I wish I could have seen Love Gun and Dynasty,
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But yeah,
I wasn't. Excuse me, I wasn't alive. Then I mean, I was born in '85, and I didn't see them until reunion tour. So, and that's funny. I've never seen them out of makeup, but it used to be. Did you see them with makeup? They only see them out of it. So, I only see them with makeup, and I wish I could have seen.
Wow,
I wish I could have
never
seen
thought about
more
that.
reunion shows.
Wow. I've never thought about that, about someone seeing it that never got to see him without makeup. Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, because back in the day, it was, did you ever see him with makeup?
That's right.
You
Now
know?
Yeah.
it's flip flopped.
Yeah,
Did you ever see them without makeup?
those unmasked years, if you saw him with makeup, that shit was rare.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's rare if you saw him without makeup.
I saw him with women's makeup on the Asylum tour.
Yeah, me too. I saw every Kiss tour from Creatures of the Night till the farewell show, except I didn't go to Revenge, which I wish I could have. Yeah, I wish
Wow.
I could have seen the Revenge show, but that same night was Megadeth and Suicidal. So I picked that show over it. And then I got a bootleg copy of the Miami show of Revenge. And I was like, dude, I picked the wrong show.
Yeah, I've got that Miami show.
That Revenge show was wicked. Parasite and all that shit. I was like, fuck, I should have went to this, man. But anyway. But yeah.
I wish I could have went to see Revenge, but
Andrew,
I wasn't old enough.
Let me ask you, Andrew, when the movie
Yeah.
credits are over, everything, how old are you in that very last clip?
Maybe it was probably 87 or 88, so I'm 3 or 4 years old.
Wow.
it had to be 3 years old because it was before my sister was born. She was born when I was 4 years old. So it was before she was born. So I had to be 3 years old.
Jam and a Kiss. So when you watch it, go all the way to the end.
Go
That's
all the way to the end. You'll see me jamming to Kiss, and that's just to show you that I've been a fan since that age. And I think I still have that copy of Double Platinum too, because that's where Rock Roll and I came from, was Double Platinum. There's more to that video where like the camera pans over and you see the Double Platinum record just kind of hanging out in the corner.
So,
And
so were
and
your
I still have
parents Kiss fans?
no, I had an older sister that was a Kiss fan, and I kind of, because she was just into whatever was popular at the time. She wasn't a metalhead; she was just whatever was popular she liked. So I got like a lot of the hand-me-downs. I got, the Kiss Meets the Phantom. Actually, I liked Kiss before I knew that they were a musical group because I had the comic book, had Kiss Meets the Phantom, and in my little twisted little young head, I knew that Ninja Turtles and Batman was fake, but Kiss was real. Like Gene Simmons actually breathed fire and flew, and that stuff really happened. Batman and Ninja Turtles didn't happen, but Kiss did. So for me, as an impressionable kid, it was just what could be better, and I've never waned in my fandom. It went into overdrive it went into overdrive like around the reunion tour because they were everywhere, but I've never waned on my fandom. I've always been a voracious Kiss fan my whole life.
yeah, same here. Though I did turn my back on the band, but I was a vicious, crazy Kiss fan in the '70s. I mean, all this shit you're looking at right here is because of Kiss. The song, it was
Yeah,
all because of the song "I Want You." That's what started it all. When
rock and roll over. It's mine. It's what
yeah,
started it all.
Mm-hmm.
I needed, I went out to buy Rock and Roll Over. I couldn't find it, but they had Double Platinum, and that had "I Want You." So I
Yes.
took my chance on that one. Let me buy Double Platinum instead. And oh my God, it wasn't one. It was one of those things. Yeah, I got to get other Kiss albums, but I was like, also in my mind, I was like, I need to find more bands like this, like hard
Yeah.
rocking bands. I was
Yeah.
on a mission to find bands that rock like this. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you started listening to Bay City Rollers, so we don't know
yeah.
what
I
happened.
still listen to Bay City Rollers. Yeah. So Andrew, like when the three of us growing up during that period of the '70s, it was just so amazing. You'd see the pictures in the magazines and stuff. And that's pretty much what all I ever saw was the magazines, and of course, comic books came out.
Hmm.
But we would take, I don't know if you guys did it, but we'd take Double Platinum and you'd open it up and there's those raised photos of the
I
Yeah,
band.
know
You
what
put
you're
a
gonna
piece of
say.
traced it over
paper
to see the look you
and
got in
and
makeup.
and see what they look like without makeup. Yeah,
I
and we could
did.
take black and white picture of Paul Stanley in a magazine. You can take your eraser or your pencil and erase his star off and see what he looks like without makeup.
I did that, and they ended up looking like the Ramones.
Yeah. Or the New York Dolls.
It didn't look like, when I saw Kiss later, I was like, oh no, they look like the Ramones when I first, thinking maybe there was a big rumor that Van Halen was Kiss. You remember that?
No, no, I remember the rumor where Quiet Riot was Kiss out of makeup because they thought that Eric Carr looked like Frankie Banali
Oh wow.
because he had the same big hair.
But yeah, they were saying Van
But it
Halen.
came out, Quiet Riot came out right at the time they took the makeup off. So yeah, crazy though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, back in the day. Yeah, well, I'm sure we've put all the Kiss tards to sleep at this point in time talking about um from Tokyo to You, which coincidentally you could see from Tokyo to You on YouTube or on my website, which is andrewsgambati.com. And peop you know, people have been very, very supportive, and they said a lot of great things about it. So I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm going to let if you want to hear if you want to hear reviews about the movie, just look at the comments. I'm going to let the people do the talking. I'm going to do none of the talking when it
Yeah,
comes when it comes to that.
while we were doing this show, I went and edited the stuff, so I put a link to the YouTube video
Oh, that's so cool.
below, and then later on, I'll put your website so they can see the little bonus stuff. You
Yeah,
know,
there's
the
some cool
other,
bonus stuff on the website. Yeah.
also the other stuff you've done, like Rise to It, and what was the one with Midnight Special? What was that?
Yeah, so there's Rise to It is the documentary on the Hot in the Shade tour, and then I created a mock late night TV show that would have aired in '76 called Kiss at
That was
Midnight.
excellent.
And
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and it
I love when you put the vintage commercials in there.
yeah, yeah, so I really wanted to create a like a time capsule that you were actually watching TV in the '70s. So it's a show that has an Allison Steele radio interview that's not super popular, so maybe some people have never heard it before. So you're hearing her narrate, then you're seeing some cool Kiss live footage, then you see, '70s Kiss commercials. They're not all exactly from '76. There's some Wings Over America commercials and some, Laverne and Shirley and Odd Couple, which are some of my favorite shows. So, but you get to see that, and it makes you feel like that this could have been on in the '70s. So yeah, all that
Wow.
stuff is on my website for absolutely free. I also did something called Alive at 50, which is a short documentary on Kiss Alive. And when short, it's like 5 minutes. Short Kiss Alive documentary, and then there's my edits of Come On Love Me and Rock and Roll Night
Yeah,
live.
that was awesome. Because those videos, I noticed footage I didn't see before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So a couple years ago, all that footage was leaked out into fan circles. And, so I made new versions of those music videos. And people have said that they look better than what Kiss put out in the box set.
oh, of
Anyway, let them do the talking. I won't do the talking on that. But you could see all of my stuff on my website, andrewsgambati.com. But the big thing now is from Tokyo to you. So where you can go behind the scenes of Kiss's 1977 Japanese tour and then hear how this live album got into fan circles, which still to this day has never been released.
yeah, check it out.
And it should.
I went and took a peek today, and it's gotten a lot of views so far.
Yeah, so let's check. Let's do a live check. Where are we at as far as views right now? Because the Kiss fans have been so
You got it, Ralph?
I'll look for it. Hold on.
I'm opening up right here. Let's see. All right, so we're at over 12,000 views at this point.
Holy crap!
And then over 200 comments, and people are digging it. And I'm getting off on seeing people getting off on the video, so I'm so excited that I was able to do something that people like.
Yeah, it's totally fan stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it was it's a fun. I mean, I can't do it no more because lack of time, and but I really enjoyed making my documentaries.
Mhm.
I did one on Dio. I did one on Sabbath. I can't remember what else. I think I did another one.
Didn't
But
you do one at Casablanca Records as well?
well, not yeah, no, not kinda.
Okay.
The guy that owns all the Casablanca record stuff, he gave me footage and told me where to place it.
Okay. Okay.
I edited it for him.
Okay.
And,
Still cool.
yeah, and I did narration too. I narrated
Yeah.
some of the stuff. He even wrote all that shit out.
That's still cool. That's still cool. So that's a lot of fun to do. It's a lot of fun to create something from nothing. So
Yeah, it's cool. Shout out to Damien who gave me the original cuffs Ace Frehley wore in the movie.
wait, are you talking about Damien Vivona?
I believe that's his last name. Yeah.
That's funny because he messaged me earlier today. That's so funny. What a small world.
Yeah, and my phone, it's Damien Casablanca. So I don't know what
This
his
is
last
because
name
Damien put out a video in the '90s called The
Yeah,
History of Casablanca.
inside Casablanca, right?
Inside, that's right. That's right. Inside, yeah,
Yeah,
same guy. So
yeah,
funny. Small world.
Yeah, he did that. And he did a music video where I'm the drummer in the music video, but I don't know how to play drums. And I just
Me neither.
prepared drums.
So fun.
But yeah,
That's fun stuff.
He sent me the pickup that was on Ace's guitar that it's all gummed
Oh,
up.
that's so cool.
Yeah, he sent me a
so
lot of stuff. The collar Peter Chris wore and originals. I got the Kiss originals too. That one's kind of hard to get.
Originals 2 is my favorite Japanese record because it has so much cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
Because it's got like the masks and all kinds of cool. So yeah, Originals 2, that's cool stuff.
Yeah, Damien, great dude. Awesome.
Damien, good dude. Yeah, I'll talk to him probably more tomorrow.
Yeah. Tell him I said hi. Well, I just spoke to him like the other day. But
Isn't that weird how the camera zooms in when I do
why does it do that?
I don't know. I just it only does it on Zoom, and I don't control anything. I just was stretching, and it zoomed in on me stretching. Because I'm old, and I if I stay still for too long, everything starts to hurt.
He's old.
If you ask,
40 years
you
old.
ask-
You're sitting here with 3 80-year-olds.
I'm 40 years old.
if you ask me, I think you have a poltergeist problem.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. But
Yeah.
They're here.
So anything in the peanut gallery? We haven't heard from the
People. A lot of people have just been talking about stuff about Kiss shows that they saw over the years, and someone's talking about Johnny Rod's hair. I don't know what that's got to do with anything. But yeah, it's mostly just people saying that they're going to check it out, or either they've seen it, it was cool. But like I said, mostly people just talking about the tours, the Kiss tours that they saw when
that's
they
so
saw
cool.
them.
That's so
So
cool.
I noticed after we talked about the two ladies that you interviewed, Thomas Newby said the Japanese photos didn't age well, like the photos that they showed of all the fans. I don't know what that means, but Marty Friedman loves living in Japan. He's a big star there. That's what someone posted. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Like I said, I really hope people enjoy this, and I really hope that I really hope that at some point we could all go to another Kiss convention or record convention together, and pretend like it's 1995 and we don't have cell phones.
Yeah. Do they still do them? Because the last one that
Um,
I went to, I think, was in Atlanta, and that was like 2019. I mean,
yeah, I don't think they do Kiss Expos anymore. There are still
that was
record
the one.
conventions.
That was the one Vinny was at.
I was there.
Vinny, and
Yeah.
Vinny had been there forever. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
there. I was there on that. And we won't say anything. We won't say anything about Vinny, but um,
I'll
they
I'll
still.
tell you a quick story. It's pretty funny. You'll get a kick
All
out of
right.
this. So, you know how long the line was to meet Vinny all day, and my buddy that I went, he's a massive Kiss fan, and he was just standing in line. We bought the little tickets so we could get some stuff signed, and we were just standing there. And I said, dude, I mean, all the stuff's going on, all the interviews and the performances, all the stuff's going on. I'm like, I don't want to stand in line all day to meet Vinny. I want to go out and watch the show. And you know what's going on. So I did. And a little while later, my friend's like, man, I'm tired of standing in line. This is just taking forever. I'm missing everything. So he comes out. He said, I talked to someone in charge, and they said that everybody, if you bought the autograph ticket, you're not going to you're not going to miss getting the autograph from Vinny. He'll stay here till every last autograph is sold, is sold, sold or done. And so anyhow, we were the last two people in line to get something signed.
Oh no!
And I just brought my Vinnie Vincent record, and he signed it. Well, my friend Larry, let's see if I can find it here. He brings this, the Warrior demos.
Yes.
Oh,
That's the one item that he decided to bring to get signed, thinking that it's going to drum up a conversation. Well, it did not make a good conversation. Vinny was just like, this is a bootleg. I don't want to sign this, And he's like, I didn't make anything off this. And Larry's just like crushed. He's just like, oh my God, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to piss you off or whatever. He signs it and gives it back to him. And we're like walking out, and Larry is just so bummed, and I'm laughing, and he's going, "Man, I didn't want to piss him off, man. I feel bad." I said, "Dude, that's great. You got a great story to tell. Everybody else just got. All I got was thank you, and that's it. Yeah, he got a story out of it. Yeah, but it pissed Vinny off because of this.
I actually have that CD, and it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
If
But
we if we have Jimmy Waldo on the show, we need to talk to him about this.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I don't know if I'll be Jimmy Waldo though, but we'll see. Well, I'll give it a try.
yeah.
So yeah, Andrew, I'm very proud of you, my friend.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me on here, and thanks for reaching out and supporting all the videos over the years, which I really really appreciate. And
Yeah, I asked you last week before I even saw it because I knew it was gonna rule.
Oh, that's really nice of you to say. I'm really, like I said, I'm really glad that people are digging it, and now they can see, the hard work, and hopefully they continue to enjoy it. So, but now I gotta take a break. I need a little break.
I hear
I'm
you.
sure.
I thought, you know what, man, better to have you on the show after it's out instead of
Yeah.
tune in Tuesday, you know.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of shows. The podcast community has been extremely supportive. For a while there, I felt like I was living, in Groundhog Day because I would work my day job, then I would edit, and then I would go on shows to talk about. So I was like doing that for a couple, like there was like 2 weeks where that's all I did was just work, edit, and come on here and shows. But like I said, people have been very supportive, and I'm really appreciative for that.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff, man.
Really,
And
really am.
the link is
So.
in the description below.
Yeah. If you can't find it, From Tokyo to You on YouTube, and catch me at andrewsgambati.com. Send me an email or tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, and send me some chicken parm.
All right, my friend.
All
Well,
right. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
And thanks to the Almost Humanoids. Till next week. Oh, look at that.
I guess if you do that, it's so weird. You do certain things and certain things happen. But anyway, thank you so much, guys.
That's a poltergeist problem if I ever
It
saw.
probably is.
All right, everybody. Till next week. Schmack 'em a gob.